Thanks for listening to The Front Lounge with Congos. You can catch this live every Tuesday on our Twitch. That's twitch.tv/congosmusic. Also, make sure to join our Discord. That's congos.com/discord, Discord. A lot of fun people there. It's a great community. If you'd like to support the podcast, join our Patreon. That's patreon.com/Congos. You'll get access to all the archives of streams that we've done on Twitch, plus merch discounts and more. Hello. Welcome to the Front Lounge, episode 46. I'm Johnny Congos. We've got everyone here, all of the brothers. Right off the bat, if you're watching on Facebook or anywhere else, come join us at Twitch if you'd like to. I said I wasn't going to do that before the stream, but then I did it. We're trying to figure out our platform.
I say watch on the platform that's friendliest to you. Like, if you're watching on Facebook, watch on Facebook. I mean, we were trying to push everyone to Twitch, but like, people want to stay on their native platform. You know, I'm a Facebook native. I was born here.
Yeah, sorry. It's not switching to you, right? I had it locked on me. In fact, we're just going to do the whole podcast now locked on me. Coming up, this episode, we're going to be talking about The Last of Us. Danny, I know, has got a massive beef with that show that I'm happy to jump on board, hating anything. We'll talk about the Oscars and the heinous crime that was committed by not giving Banshees of Inisherin anything.
Fuck. Are you serious?
On that? Yeah, no, it didn't. We'll talk about that when we get to that. And then I think a little later on, we're going to solve the banking crisis.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to get to today. Anyway, join the Discord.
A lot of input on that.
Yeah, join the Discord. That's the most important thing, I would say. Join our Discord. We just gave away a few weeks ago a free download of a completely unreleased live version of our song When You're Here. So that's the kind of stuff that happens on our Discord. Other than that, what's up, guys? How's it going?
It's good. What were you doing in the studio last week that we didn't do the podcast?
Rearranging and rewiring.
Oh, yeah. Let me go to see if I can go to this camera and you can see a bit here. We moved the couch. That's the big news, guys. It's surprising, though. It's made such a difference. I think the couch looked nice here aesthetically if I was shooting for good housekeeping or home and garden. But it's just the space now to be able to do live recordings, acoustic stuff is a lot better.
Just also to be able to move mics freely. It's just lovely.
Okay, so
I've always liked those pictures of studios with all the mic stands against the wall and empty. You know, like that's how they end the day, is just like a clean shop, you know?
If you set up the system, because I've been doing this now, and you just roll your cables up at night, it's really nice. Yeah, you know.
I mean, act like a professional studio, basically.
Yeah, I mean, without the intern or the what do they call them, T-boy, to do that.
All the preparation is done. Now we just have to actually make music. That's the hard part.
Well, speaking of which, next week, Friday, new music is out. If you build it. I believe it's Say My Name Friend on our Discord. Shout out to Say My Name Friend, because they have predicted fairly accurately which new release is going to be coming up based on the streams we've been doing, what we've been talking about. They've been putting together the pieces, called that one. Although I posted what's coming out on May 5th, some cryptic images of what's coming out May 5th, and no one's figured that one out yet. But it's a very exciting cover song, I'll say that. Yeah, so new music next Friday, May 24th.
Isn't also, if you build it, is available on our Discord too, right?
Oh, yeah. If you build it, and if you don't want to wait to build it, it's available now on our merch store. We've been doing that lately, putting out the high-res and instrumental versions available directly from us at our merch store. So you can download and own those. And I am leaning more and more towards starting to do that with music, or finding a way to keep my music, because every time I go look at one of the playlists that I've spent time putting together, something's changed with some contract in Apple Music, and now it's not available anymore, and it's really getting fucking annoying.
Not just that, however they tag the tracks and the audio files, like sometimes a live version will just get swapped out with a studio version or a different recording or a different mix or something. I've had situations where my playlist, I go back to it, and it's like a live version of the song, that they just swapped out, and the cover changed and everything. And it's annoying because you spend time curating. Like I have a playlist called "Sophisticated Middle-Aged Dinner." That's an excellent playlist for having a sophisticated middle-aged dinner.
What kind of music is on
keep
that?
Changing shit.
What's on that playlist?
Come back to me in like 30 seconds. I'll pull it up.
Yeah, I like to name all my playlists with funny things. I've got one called Dinner Jazz that sounds like it's the worst playlist ever, but it's the best dinner jazz playlist.
Mine's just called Food.
Food, yeah.
The Magnificat.
I was making fun of this stuff. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just that there's an Arvo Part Magnificat version, and we found it on streaming, but it was different.
Oh, you're talking about the fidelity of it, yeah, because we had...
It wasn't just the fidelity. There was something different about it. It would be a different
like
mix.
remastered or
something like that,
yeah.
because it was just wrong. And
I love the convenience of streaming, but it's another one of those things I don't actually think is better.
Really, yeah. Well, I mean, it is convenient, but they should have kind of an absolute system. Like this song is absolutely this song, and it never changes. Yeah. And like not the remaster. The remaster is always worse.
It's coming up next year. We're going to put out remastered editions of our records.
Yeah. When do you fucking stop remastering stuff?
Well, also, it's never the band remastering it.
Oh, it's so fucking convenient. Apple, you move your head, and the music goes to your left ear. What idiotic shit is that? You're not playing a video game in life. You're listening to music that was designed. Have you seen that stuff?
No. What is that?
They have this spatial audio stuff where they just want to put spatial audio on everything. I can understand the applications for 3D environments and interactive stuff. It's obviously pretty incredible. But they just start applying it to stuff which is designed for stereo. So you'll move your head, and then they'll like the voice. The entire thing will shift, and it does it arbitrarily. You can switch it off. It's not a big deal. But I just think like this imposition of newer is always better.
Well, it's also like do the newer shit, like you're saying, with the newer stuff.
Yeah.
Like I can imagine if you're playing VR gaming, to be able to look around and see it is amazing. But yeah, I want to listen to the Beatles.
A mono record, decide to go phase shift over to the left for no reason. Yeah.
Say My Name Friend on the chat saying, I feel like remastering the debut album would be really cool. That might actually be, but I don't think it's going to happen.
No, because it may be better in some sort of objective sense, but it's just...
Well, they're saying remaster, redo, or reattempt. The reattempt part could be funny. Like
maybe write different songs. How about
fix
It'd be
the
cool
lyrics.
if you did the debut album, but just entirely differly. Different music, different players.
We're still just trying to master anything, let alone remaster
it. I see what he means. Like a different
reimagining.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like I always loved the original Curious. I thought that was a cool...
Oh, yeah, I listened to that the other day. It
was
weird.
A cool kind of, like cool driving.
The rock one?
Yeah. I like certain elements of it a lot.
I forgot about that completely.
So did I. My girls sometimes ask for our music in the car, and I occasionally let them listen to it. Usually I say no. But I put it on shuffle, and that one came on, Curious, from the demo. And... it's weird when it's your own sort of flesh and blood where they have not heard these songs, and sometimes it seems like they kind of get it and are connected to it in a certain way, and it almost lets me sort of listen to it in a different way because I almost always just tune out our own music because I remember working on it and, working it to death and just like losing attachment to it. But then when I hear it through their ears, it's almost like a little pathway to them knowing us, down the line in retrospect.
Yeah. Say My Name Friend says, it might just be me, but there's a certain sense of the song sounding old or dated. That's because they're fucking 15 years old, right? Or
more.
20.
Yeah, 20
years old.
Yeah, some of them.
Most of those. We started in 2003 and 4. So
Say My Name Friend, we're what you call a classic rock band.
Let's just talk about this real quick, get straight to it. The Oscar list. We won't talk about it a lot because I didn't watch it. I don't really care. The only thing I care about is, one, they gave everything to this movie called Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I had to stop watching it.
I had to stop watching it. No, it's not. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. I've seen worse, but it's
the only thing worse
bad.
was The Lost of Us.
Yeah, so they did that, and they didn't give the Banshees of Inisherin, however you
Inisherin,
yeah, anything. Which is it's one of those things you kind of expected, like the Grammys. They do all these ridiculous things, and it's just becoming a laughable event.
But there's nothing wrong with it because it's an award show. So to criticize an award show is kind of as silly as award shows. But
who hosted it?
Kimmel, I think. But the problem is they feel this need to distribute awards, and so so now and it's all kind of arbitrary. So it's like, well, we gave this one Best Picture. That means we have to give Best Writing to this one. But it's all one thing. Like a movie is one thing.
Yeah.
I understand that there are different departments, and sometimes sound design really was amazing about this movie, and nothing else was good.
Yeah, it's like they're saying if you Best Writer, but doesn't win Best Picture or Director, you're basically saying you guys could have done better with what this guy wrote.
Right, yeah. You really fucked this script up.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna have to. I've got a bunch of film friends here, and they are obsessed with film. And I'll I'll send in the Discord that reimagined Banshees of Inisherin poster. I don't know if I showed you that. It's it's really funny. Anyway, I'll see what they have to say about Everything Everywhere All at Once because I literally couldn't get through it. I thought it was.
No, I stopped it.
Yeah.
Does
it redeem itself?
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, I don't want to find out.
It seemed like it would be good if it was a kids movie. It was like an inventive little idea for a kids movie. With split realities and multiverse, and also I'm just bored with the multiverse idea.
It just looked like it looked like Inspector Gadget with a filter over it. I don't know how to.
Worst movie since Forrest Gump.
I can't even laugh at these jokes properly because I know nothing.
I didn't even know it was the
so.
Oscars until today.
I don't watch movies anymore. It takes so much to get me to watch a movie. I only watch TV.
What won last year?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up. Let me see.
Let's talk about The Last of Us because I don't think there's any disagreement here about how much it fucking sucks.
Yeah. Why? Yeah. So you also started watching it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna watch it till the end, but it fucking sucks. It was good for the first 25 minutes. You're like, cool, another zombie movie. The world's ending. Yeah. And then it just went to shit.
Yeah. I don't know.
So, it's different than in Station 11 because I thought Station 11 was good.
Station 11 was way better. This is it's based on a video game, and that's what it feels like. There's just no writing. Every episode feels like you're just at another checkpoint. Like the movie's just about getting to the checkpoint at the end of the episode, and then there's another level you have to get to, and this level takes place in a building, and you're killing zombies in this building, and they're trying to writing in these cheesy, human elements, but it's just.
Yeah, I mean, there's Della LaCroix Johnson is saying The Last of Us is just The Walking Dead on HBO. That seems like a cipher, that entire sentence. But it is. I mean, all zombie movies are kind of similar, but it's still it's the other stuff that makes them entertaining.
It's also like they try to add in all this human drama shit, and I just wish there would just be a fucking zombie movie. Shoot the zombies, try to survive, fight with other people. Don't give us 3 episodes of some story about a kid who lost their dog and flashbacks and shit.
Yeah, it is. It's over the top.
It's a bunch of people in a boardroom.
I don't know why
trying to capture this human element.
The enticing parts about zombie movies are the prep. The society breaking down and then seeing how people cope with it, and no one ever spends enough time on that. They skip over that stuff because
they try to make it exciting.
Yeah,
right.
but that's the exciting stuff.
Yeah. There needs to be an entire. I mean, Shaun of the Dead was was basically nailed it. I thought because it kind of touches that sort of, for me at least, when something like that goes down in a movie, you just want them to get to the REI or the Bass Pro Shop, and just hang out there, lock all the doors. That's the fun part for me. You've got all the gear, stockpiles of food, and
they also had a sense of humor though. And these other shows, Walking Dead and The Last of Us, they don't have a sense of humor. And when they try to have a sense of humor, it's just cringe. It's
Right.
so cringeworthy.
I think that all of the social points are just so on the nose, and they feel like they came from a boardroom. Like in that, there's the only episode I'm up to is where he meets up with his brother, and they're in. It's like, and they're like, it's a communist town, and they have that like little throwaway line about, oh, you have to be communist in this situation, and then there's like, you know, all of the social implications of that. And that would be an interesting thing to get into in a show if they actually got into it. Like if they actually got into the power struggles and all of people's ideas about how to organize and how to distribute power, and, you know, how you arrive at who has power and what systems you arrive at, that would be something to do. But instead they just kind of threw away this like statement. Remember like in Don't Be a Menace in South while drinking the juice in the hood?
Yeah.
You know that movie where the guy, every time there's a fucking message, well, one of the Wayans brothers would pop into the window and go message, and that's what it feels like in this fucking show. It feels like message, you know, here's your message now.
I think that there's a problem happening with
cynical.
Yeah.
It's so cynical that it's, you know, you say boardroom, but I picture more like guys looking at analytics, you know, and pie charts and saying, okay, we need 22% of this sentiment to pull in this demographic, and then we can put it in their recommendation engine on, you know, Netflix, and we're going to aggregate a viewership here.
Right.
And that's how I view it. It's like, it's not even really like necessarily pushing narratives. It's just like, okay, we need this click on board, and we need this in-group on board, and if we can get all of these people to tweet it, you know, then like our work is done.
Exactly.
So
if it was pushing a narrative, there would be something to bite into. You know,
But also
there
it
would be
have to
something
be-
to contend with. There's nothing to contend with.
Well,
it's just empty.
It's the problem of multiple writers. You know, when you don't, even if they wanted to push some narrative you didn't agree with, some whatever, pick political, social issue, whatever, if you have a problem with it, it would be better to hear that from one person or two people's perspective as opposed to like the committee you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the
An
kind of shit
individual.
that
Yeah.
those worlds.
This is why we don't write songs together.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you know, in actuality, it's like we could write songs together, and, you know, when we've come up with really good commercial songs to sell, you know, cars or like other stuff. But to actually give up your own sort of identity or your own individual thought on a subject, you know, because somebody else wants to weigh in is usually quite annoying, you know.
Well, imagine trying to write like the perfect love song of a personal experience with a group of dudes.
I mean, Charles Manson probably had tried that.
The Nashville Split.
Yeah. There's probably some
I've been
Mormons
watching
and
that,
sister wives that could do it as a group.
Daisy Jones and the Six show. It's like loosely based on Fleetwood Mac, and I mean they're not trying to hide the fact. Like a lot of the songs are written by 70s writers like Jackson Browne, and they wrote them in the style of Fleetwood Mac. They all very reminiscent, and the story is very similar, but they're not explicitly saying it. So it's pretty cheesy. It's it's trying to capture songwriting, and the process on film always comes across as really cheesy. But it's not. It does capture some of the stuff really, really well, like being at a festival, things like that. And it's Presley's granddaughter, and she has a fucking good voice, like really good singer, and different. She doesn't sound like she's just trying to imitate Billie Eilish or something like that.
Have you guys watched 1883 and like the spin-offs of Yellowstone?
No.
Yeah. I've watched
Eight-
1883.
And what about 1923?
I watched 1923. I've watched 1946, 1972.
You could listen to 1929, part 1, 2, and 3.
No, I've watched 1923 is way better than 1886 or whatever it is. I thought.
I thought it was the other way around. I thought 1883 was better.
Huh.
You just have to ignore the what's her name,
The narration.
the Elsa character, but like I started watching that, and first few episodes in, you know, I'm gonna spoil this. I did because I never watched the titles or the credits or anything like that, and I'm like, this is pretty well cast. Like this main cowboy dude, you know, he really kind of hits the part, you know, and he has some gravity. And like 3-4 episodes in, I realized it's Tim McGraw and Faith Hill playing two leads.
I didn't watch that, but I watched 1925 or whatever it's called, and that, I mean, it jumped the shark immediately, but I kind of liked it.
Do you know what I liked
kill
about
the leopards and
1923,
stuff.
and I wish that they would do is there was a BBC program that I'm sure is dated and like culturally inappropriate now called Shaka Zulu. It's the story of Shaka Zulu. I wish someone really fucking good would remake that, because there is like a wealth of how many people are in Africa? 1 point something billion.
Yeah.
Like a massive percentage of the world's in Africa, and we never hear any stories in the West about that. And there's some fucking cool stories. And just in 1923, the sections where they're in Africa, where he's hunting leopards and dealing with that it's just such a nice relief to see something different than all we see now, which is every show's shot in LA and they walk past, the sweet green salad shop.
Well, I think that I mean, they were kind of hinting at like, old big country, Montana, Alaska, all these places, they kind of captured the point that, there is actually another place that even dwarfs this in
even
Africa.
more wild. Where the animals are more dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, that you get that sense. Anyone who's ever seen them in real life gets that prehistoric sensation that no other continent can provide.
So you guys watch TV as well, then, huh?
And let's go to the chat. Does anyone out there watch television? So here's a little story I saw. I don't read stories, obviously.
Directly to students. What does that mean?
Lunchables. Everyone knows what Lunchables are. They've gotten Lunchables into be approved by the school board lunch association or whatever, and because they had to make them healthier, they have to meet. We won't read this whole article. They have to meet certain criteria of having one of or 3 of 5 groups of food, like vegetable, meat /
They have
meat
to cause
alternative.
diabetes in 2 years or less, basically. Yeah. Otherwise, they don't get in. Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, there are some people that are trying to improve school nutrition, and it's such an important part of, because a lot of kids, a massive number of kids that get a lot of their food at school. So it's really important that they get this right. But it's just like, when you're down to eating like Lunchables and that's an option, it's insanity.
They're fucking sinister motherfuckers.
Yeah.
That they're like the contracts that these massive corporations are getting in schools to just push essentially high fructose corn syrup and factory farm meat and like shitty food is just insane.
I think poker chips are a good part of any diet.
It's nice. It's nice out here, and I know this is not just happening just in Texas, but there are lots of these smaller schools that are starting to incorporate gardening and cooking the food into part of the curriculum from a very young age. There's a lot of schools I see out here where like literally the kids make their own lunch. And like, people could think that that's like outdated. Why do you need to do that? And I think obviously that's so short-sighted that if you're not in connection in some way with your food, it's a recipe for disaster.
I mean, it's like this need to basically introduce a power tool to the sort of distribution of Cheese Whiz, I think like that, this mechanization of the food process, where like I think a lot of it is what you say, is lobbying and it's corporate greed and all that. But then there's also this weird sort of scientific mentality, which is we could do this, so we should. We could design some mechanism to drop down a Taco Bell bag through a tube that you don't have to touch anyone and grab. It's like, so let's do it because we can. And then, there's never a thought to any second and third order effect. It's like, oh, cool, this could work. Let's try it, which has a upside, obviously, because you can stumble upon really cool stuff. But I almost think there's no balance to it, especially when it comes to food in this country.
Well, I was thinking about this because I was walking through Central Market, which is one of the big stores here, like a Whole Foods, basically, and I was looking for a strawberry jam. And there's like every grocery store, there's a wall, 25 feet wide of jams with sugar reduced option, this option, that option. And there's 1,000 options because we've gone away from what was probably perfected 200 years ago, making jams. Like, they haven't improved making jams, but now they're doing all these different things and they're just trying to find a substitute for just making the right thing well. For the sake of
I think there's a little bit of that. I think it's mostly just efficiency and profit driven.
Yeah,
there's not really much else behind it. I think, like, have you heard that what's the big diaper company? Pampers,
Huggies.
Huggies,
Yeah.
or is it Pampers? One of those.
I don't know. I don't wear diapers.
They rolled out a campaign of trying to extend the time that kids should be wearing diapers into their like 4 or 5 years old or something like that, because it meant more diapers that they were going to sell. When it like clearly
was Biden on that campaign? He's like, I support diapers up to 85.
They clearly knew that there's all sorts of psychological effects that may have. But they don't give a shit though. It's like when the cigarette companies were like, the pregnant women choose this cigarette to smoke.
Yeah, the potty training thing, basically sort of discouraging, even remotely early potty training, and saying that that you're going to do something wrong, or like this is where you don't get into sort of health advice or parenting advice on a podcast, but that was a strategy basically, and the end goal was to extend the consumption of diapers.
Yeah, I mean, this is not the podcast for it, but if you go down the rabbit hole of what is pushed on parents and mothers in that first 2 weeks of a child being born, it's there's no other way to describe it than fucking sinister.
The other night I got so drunk someone shit in my pants.
All right, let me check this out. Let's see. I thought this is kind of cool. CNN has the Fear and Greed Index. Have you guys ever seen that? Yeah. It's what the market's operating out of, and apparently we're operating out of 20% out of 100 extreme fear.
That's the time to buy.
That's
extreme fear.
Not financial advice. That's a lot of people would say that's the buy signal, but we're in a fucking new paradigm right now. It's in the last 3 years, and if you don't know by now, we have a 3-part album called 1929 that we're kind of into this stuff, and eventually we will be right. We will have predicted something. There will be the big one, the big next crash, if it hasn't already happened. But I've kind of started to take the approach where, in our group chat where last night when we, all this banking news, and Monday was going to be a big day, and I started to feel like buying call up, and this is going to get relatively technical, but I started to get the feeling that buying call options would be the right move today, because it's not going to be as bad as people thought, and then it's going to, in reality, be much worse, so you sell them later. So I started taking the approach of saying stuff on group chats and then not doing what I'm saying, and then seeing if it, like waiting for a couple hours into the morning to see if I can be right about how I should act. And
you mean like Jim Cramer?
Yeah,
does on a national level.
See what effect my statement, which is based on nothing, has, and then act on it after I see some.
Oh, you're trying
movement.
to bluff the universe.
No, mostly I'm trying to bluff our friends.
Oh, okay, I see.
So if it looks like if today went well,
right.
I'd look like
I try to
genius.
The mechanism of manifestation at the center of the universe. I always try to trick it.
All right, dude, this is a good segue. I'm going to play a couple of these clips. Let's talk after them, because manifest is a term that's going to come up a lot here,
especially if you're on a flight.
So this guy we know is one of our favorites here on the podcast. One Golden Thread. It's a clothing store out of LA. Please go patronize them.
I thought it was Raiden.
Because these guys, this guy, his name's Jeff, I think. I don't know why that's funny to me. His name's just Jeff. But anyway, we're going to play a couple of these clips and talk about these guys.
As we turn the page on 2022, let's be honest, this has been a rough year for many of us. And there's an expression which is to not just be grateful for the shiny bits, but to be grateful for every bit. So let's be grateful for the lessons, for the blessings, for the muscles that we had to flex to step into this new crackle of the fire. And as we turn the page on 2020 to 2023, this is the year of your manifest destiny. What is the golden gift for you to share? What is your voice that's meant to be claimed? Let's turn the page on 2022 and step into your manifest destiny for 2023. You are golden. We are all connected as one golden thread.
Is he going to start a store called the Trail of Tears next? What is he? Does he not realize what
I don't
that
think
means?
he realizes
Yeah, yeah.
the historical context
Yeah.
of the phrase "manifest destiny." He's like, all these people are saying like, you can manifest your destiny,
Right.
just like a vision board type shit.
Yeah.
But using that term, unless he's like on some next level, say this, get the controversy, drive ad traffic, which he's clearly not.
No, he's not
a
playing 4D chess.
Yeah.
he is aggregating words that he's seen get likes on social media comments and just putting them into Chat GPT in his brain and like spitting them out. It's
Yeah.
entirely feedback based. Like,
Right. That's
yoga girls like this comment. I will use this word.
the criticism of ChatGPT that it doesn't think and it's just verbalism and it just regurgitates input and data. I'm like, no, that's the proof that it's real because that's what humans do. That's what
It nailed it.
Right. Yeah.
So here, watch another one of these. And what I particularly like about this one is just watch the person behind him staring and pretending like she
Agrees
agrees with him. Either she does or should win the fucking Oscar.
Company wanted to start a business that was perfect. And I realized not only is there no such thing as perfection, but the most perfect thing we can do is not driving cars, not flying planes, not live in homes, not wear clothes. And that can be paralysis. So the pursuit of perfection can actually be the paralysis of progress. And instead, what if we
He
look at
definitely
the
got a
notion
PPP loan.
around a term that
And then I'll just play one more, a little bit of this one because
You can tell he's trying to hold back a laugh. I mean,
yeah, he's,
Yeah, don't make me like him now. Fuck.
sustainable regeneration, we for every item sold we plant a tree, but it's never really felt enough. And what I've always been feeling with One Golden Thread, because One Golden Thread touches us all. I went around the world tying golden threads on homeless and everybody in between.
Oh my God.
Kings to the homeless, and see them all standing like kings, And
this guy thinks he's
and I'm
Rudyard
so excited.
Kipling.
Yikes. Do you remember that bullshit generator app
Yeah.
or that website that used to do jargon for
Yeah.
like corporate speak? And saying there's one for this spiritual nonsense
let's hear some.
generator. This life is nothing short of a redefining lightning bolt of life-affirming mana. Grace is the driver of grace. Nothing is impossible. We self-actualize. We live. We are reborn. If you have ever experienced this explosion at the quantum level, it can be difficult to live. Although you may not realize that you are ethereal. The quantum matrix is calling to you via expanding wave functions. Can you hear it? And it just keeps going on. You can just keep hitting
Right.
click and it regenerates and generates and generates. I think that's a new Instagram account. I think we should just...
Again, every time you think that and you think that would be funny, you still can't outdo these guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a brilliant generator,
Yeah.
but it's like you can't outdo these people in reality.
Donald Trump is starting a store called One Golden Shower. It's gonna be great. They're gonna piss on you.
Has anybody checked what his
Been going around the
NFTs are
world.
trading at?
What's that?
Has anyone checked what his NFTs are trading at?
I forgot about those.
He sold out. They were like $100 a piece or something. He sold out, and they were trading in secondary for way above. So,
Yeah.
people see $1 and they know how to make it.
Yeah.
Speaking of dollars, there's a Joe Rogan who lives here in Austin, Texas, opened up a new comedy club. And there was an interesting thing I saw that they posted on their ticket. They're selling tickets.
They don't
for
have
shows.
seats. They just have ice baths.
Yeah,
They don't-
just ice baths and SM7s. The whole audience is on the podcast. But they were doing an interesting thing at this club. I'm sure other clubs are doing it, where if you buy tickets, you have to show up. One of the people named on your tickets has to show up to enter the show. So you buy 8 tickets, and Dylan's the named person. Dylan has to be there, and it's an effort to fight the secondary, market that's driving ticket prices up. And it seems like a cool thing to do because these secondary and tertiary ticket markets are destroying live shows where fans can't get to go.
I thought I saw something though that the price of tickets, like people are reselling them for $500 or something.
I'm sure people are still doing it individually and like on Craigslist. They're just trying to put a method in place to stop it from happening as much. Because obviously what happens is like these big collectives or these companies go in, buy all the tickets, and then resell them at 3 times the price. And then it looks like you as the artist is charging $500 a ticket. It fucks the whole market up, basically.
Right,
so there's got to be, I mean, this sounds like one good way. There's probably more ways to try and just have prices be what the artist wants to, or the promoter artist wants to sell them at.
Yeah, but basically, I mean, they do it for all sorts of other things, which is like, this is not for resale.
Right.
This is, when you buy this, you are agreeing not to resell this, and that should be...
Yeah, like ID with a ticket.
Yeah.
You show an ID with a ticket.
That's, I mean, not to go down the usual rabbit hole, but that's exactly where gated sort of commerce could work, you know, where you have an identity, an on-chain identity tied to your commerce. And you could say, well, you actually build it into a smart contract where to get into the club, you know, these criteria have to be met with your purchase. Because trying to do it sort of manually with paper tickets, it's like you can try, but it's never going to work.
Yeah. I don't really have much else for this podcast.
what about banking? Didn't we solve banking?
I thought we did, didn't we already?
SVBs?
We didn't talk about banking.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh yeah, we have a foolproof solution
Yeah.
for that. What is it? I didn't think of one.
I think we should move to the bamboo standard. It grows an inch an hour.
What I like about this is seeing the Republicans and the Democrats blaming each other for this, and then they're blaming crypto for this, and they're like basically blaming everything except for...
You've seen that Spider-Man meme, you know, where it's like all the Spider-Mans pointing at each other?
Yeah.
It's
That's what it looks like. Everyone's wrong in
Yeah.
who they're blaming, and anyone that knows actually what's going on.
It's also funny that they, you know, the last few months of all these crypto exchanges committing fraud, right? And going under, and rightfully so, they're getting a lot of slack. But then flack. What did I say? I said
slack.
Slack. Yeah, that's not the right word. Eh? But then this is dwarfing that. It's going to absolutely dwarf it on a scale of fraud. It's just called something else, and it's the government, you know.
Yeah.
This, what I thought was funny is that the entire Sam Bankman-Fried sort of FTX scandal blow up was because they were using customer funds and investing / gambling / loaning them out, which is the entire model of banking, is
Right.
using customer funds to gamble and loan them out.
Right,
And it's like, he was using customer funds to invest like banks do.
right.
Biden had a speech yesterday, I think, or like in the last day or two, trying to calm everyone the fuck down because this is way scarier than they're letting on. And he said, you know, like depositors will have their money guaranteed and it's not going to be paid for by the taxpayer. So it's like, okay, if that's true, which we'll see or not, where the fuck is the money coming from? Like they're just making shit up, you know? It's like insane. Like they can just say things. Everyone just says shit.
They incentivize other banks to bail them out, but they incentivize them with money because it's like you can't encourage a bank to do something out of the goodness of their heart. You know, there's an English bank. I mean, HSBC bought the English division of SBV,
for a pound.
SVB. For a pound, yeah.
Yeah, for a pound. They bought it for a pound.
£1, right?
£1,
they took on, they just
take on the liabilities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, the level of juggling and just moving around imaginary objects is quite astonishing. And from a like purely
it's
mathematical
hot potato.
standpoint, it's pretty remarkable what they're able to do because the level of complexity that they are shifting debt around is unbelievable.
Let me tell you something. The most ego-destroying thing that's happened to me recently is I lost at pool to a young guy who runs a hedge fund, and that killed me. You know, that killed me. I would so much rather lose to an alcoholic.
Well, you don't know. He could be an alcoholic also.
Whatever. It was.
No,
And I had no chance at redemption.
Why was he better than you, or just
No, there's an
made
element
mistakes?
of pool and luck in pool,
Yeah.
but no one's better than me at pool. Dude.
Danny's got like always been obsessed, and now he's into pool.
Yeah. No, there are so many people who are better than me. It's like anything. The levels are just, endless.
Yeah. David Jose Carvalho says, "Can you share 'Hey, I Don't Know' on Facebook? Thank you." Yes, please. Would you like fries with that?
Yeah. What does he mean by that?
I don't know what you mean.
Do you mean
The music
maybe,
video?
Maybe he wants the video posted natively there or something like that. We could
So that he can share
do
it.
that.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, guys, I'll tell you what. Tomorrow we are recording an interview with one of our favorite comedians. I think we've talked about him on this podcast a bunch before. His name's Henry Phillips. If you don't know him as a comedian or for his own work, which includes a movie called Punching the Clown, which is just a classic indie film from, I'm guessing, 10, 15 years ago. You might know him from HBO's Silicon Valley. He plays the guy down in the server room basement. Silicon Valley.
And Silicon Valley.
He plays that guy. I forget his name in that show. But anyway, we're going to be interviewing him tomorrow and chatting with him. Been a fan of his for a long time. Is one of the more interesting comedians out there, I think. He's hard to compare to anybody, like his style and what he does. John Arnold's telling us on the chat. His name's John. That makes sense.
In Silicon, right? Yeah.
In Silicon Valley.
I mean, the two comedians we will have had on are both that. I feel like they're both just so different. Todd Glass and Henry Phillips. Yeah.
And he's a musician also, Henry Phillips.
He was in what was the other movie that the comedian made? A Netflix movie that was good. Was it Sleepwalking or something like that?
Oh yeah, Mike Birbiglia.
Yeah, I think he was in that movie. I mean, I think he acted in that movie.
Yeah.
I have to look that up.
I think you're right.
So yeah, anyway, we'll be talking with him. He has a cooking show right here on Twitch that is fucking hysterical. We've been watching some clips of that. So go check him out so that you have some context if you're not aware of him next week when we do that. We'll air that next week for our podcast. Other than that, join the Discord. That's the most important thing I can say from all of this. Is to join the Discord where we gave away a nice download of When You're Here, live version, and early access to certain things, and then just a cool community where our fans can chat about all things. And then March 24th, which is next Friday, If You Build It is out on streaming platforms everywhere. And then a bunch more music already uploaded, ready to be delivered to your streaming ears. That's it. Anything else, you guys?
No, nope.
I don't think so.
All right. See you guys next week.
See ya.
See ya.